Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Wait, take.
Throw. End zone. Caught. Terrence Williams. Touchdown, Cowboys. Tony Romo.
They go for the shotgun. Roger looks left. Fires it out there. Caught by Tony Hill. Touchdown, Cowboys.
15 to the 10, he'll score. Emmitt Smith dances to the end zone. The Cowboys have taken a 2-score lead.
Play fake to throw it out of the end zone.
Going way down the field for Michael Irvin, bumping and grinding at the 5. Oh, he's got it. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Over the middle, caught by Witten, who loses his helmet but still keeps going. A penalty. All the pressure on the left side. He drops the ball, throws, caught, Witten. Touchdown.
Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed.
99 yards and a half.
Dorsett down the sideline. Stays in bounds.
Can you believe that?
And short because they're 99 yards.
Prescott able to get out of the end zone and now airs it out for Lamb. He's got it. He's gone. When he gets there, it's a touchdown, Cowboys. On top.
You want to know what an all-pro looks like? Watch Michael Irvin here. He'll battle you all the way down the field.
Motion on first down, Aikman. Harper. Was that beautiful? Touchdown, Dallas. Men on the rush. Pass is caught. Deflection. Touchdown. Cowboys win. Amari Cooper.
Throws it down the field. It's caught at the 10. And this game is over. The Cowboys win it. C.D. Lamb.
But no. But you understand, we do have one game left to play. Hey, fantastic. Every single one of you. I mean, I'm not just talking about these last 60 minutes. I'm talking about the quarterback schools, the mini camp, the off-season, the training camp, down in Austin when it was hot and you were tired, the whole bit. Everybody, you did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Cowboys Nation, welcome back to another episode of Sons of the Star. I'm your host, Dallas. Joining me again is Cowboy Reg. He's trying to figure something out over there. But we are coming to you live on X a little bit after the Cowboys game today. They have lost 44-19 to the New Orleans Saints, a game that we were expecting them to come out and have a good performance, and we got the complete opposite. So, Cowboy Reg, how are we feeling after that disgusting performance today?
Disgusted. Yeah, we should have known better. We should have known better. It's deja vu, right? I mean, everything played out just like it did last time we were at home in a big game. And we're gonna break it down tonight and lick our wounds a little bit and talk about what needs to be fixed. But man, that was ugly early, and it was like 5 minutes into the game, I thought I was watching that Packers playoff game all over again. And it just proved to go down the same course. I mean, it was like same script. Not to use that term out here, NFL, but it looked like the same script.
Stop.
I wish it was fake. No, we just got our asses kicked. It wasn't fake. It wasn't scripted.
Yeah, it was a very similar game, though.
It was scarily similar.
It felt very similar. But yeah, we are live on X. So if you have comments or questions today about the game, love to hear them. Smack talk, whatever you got for us, let us know. We are ready to take all the smoke, as the kids say, because we are definitely embarrassed. The haters are having a heyday right now because the Cowboys have been embarrassed again. I don't know where you start. I mean, it's just like it seems like this is deeper than just football at this point. I mean, this ends a 16 game winning streak at home during the regular season for the Dallas Cowboys. So we knew that was going to happen at some point. Carlos Estrada says, have a great show, fellas. It's only week 2, so I'm not saying anything I could get receipts for. Yeah, exactly. So it is only week 2. There's 15 more of these things to go. But like we said in our preview show, this would be a good game to win because, the schedule doesn't get any easier from here. Hot Take City says, hello, my depressed friends. Man, I guess they're depressed, but maybe not as depressed as the Giants fans out there. But we'll see in week 4. We'll see how
Maybe,
bad we're looking. Maybe we will both be 1-2 heading into that game.
Yeah, right. Could
Yeah.
be.
Could be worse, I guess. It could be worse. So, yeah, definitely not what the Cowboys were looking to start. So, hey, we know it's any given Sunday, as they say in the NFL, and Cowboys look great after week 1 in a game that they were picked to lose. And then this is supposed to be a game where, you get back, you get to go at home opener, after a big win in Cleveland, and you just lay an egg, man. You just completely lay an egg. From the very start, it came out, the Saints got the ball. Let's just recap this thing, how it went down. The Saints got the ball to start. They went 80 yards, 7 plays, 80 yards for a touchdown. Didn't look great right away. And then the Cowboys get the ball. They do a little bit. They go down the field, kick a 52-yard field goal to make it 77-3. And then immediately after that, Derek Carr throws a 70-yard pass to Rashid Shaheed. And
Unbelievable.
What did we say in the pregame? What did I say, Cowboy Reg? No big plays. Don't let big plays happen. That's how you lose to this team, this New Orleans Saints teams, when you allow big plays. And then you're down 14-3, and it's like you said, it's just like the Green Bay game. You got punched in the face really quick, and this team does not show a willingness to fight back. They don't have the leadership, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They don't have any leaders to kind of to rally the troops and come back from that. Cowboy Red said it in our group chat, like, this game's over. So I kind of felt similarly. 14-3, Cowboys get the ball, they kick another field goal to make it 14-6, and then Saints get the ball again and go down the score, 4-play, 78 drive. 65-yard pass, little screen pass, or I'm sorry, 57-yard pass to Alvin Kamara, his first of his 4 touchdowns of today, to go up 21-6. And then, I mean, all alarms are going off. This thing's over. So then immediately after that, CeeDee Lamb has a huge touchdown. So we got a little bit of momentum back. That was a big play, 65-yard pass from Dak Prescott. He made a great play. He avoided 2 defenders, ran down the field for a 65-yard touchdown. So that looked great. But again, you're still down 21-13, but it's a 1-possession game. But again, the defense just couldn't show up. So after that, the Saints get the ball and go score again to make it 28-13. And then after that, I believe, is when Dak threw the interception, correct? Or did they just get the ball back? I can't remember. I think at that point, Dak had thrown the pick at 28-13.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that sounds familiar, but I mean, I hate to keep beating the dead horse, but it went down exactly the same as a playoff game. I mean, first you can't keep up with them scoring because your defense is like Swiss cheese. There's holes everywhere, and they're dropping 50, 60-yard plays, and they're doing 70, 80-yard drives, and they're not even eating up clock because it's like a big play and they're in the red zone, or a big play and it's a touchdown. And then you start forcing the ball and you throw an interception. That's what happens. That's what happened in the Green Bay game. That's what happened here. And, you can't blame the offense in the first half because they're down 35-16 in the first half. But what happened in the second half? You scored 3 points. We scored 3 points in the second half.
Yeah.
That I mean, that's worse than
that's because you can't run your offense. I mean, you're done.
But I mean,
like I said, you can't run your offense because you have to pass the ball every down. You can't run the ball. You can't put together a game plan, and then the Saints could just do what they want on defense, really, because they know the Cowboys have to pass, and that's not the Cowboys' offense. Really, they have to incorporate the run game somehow, even though we really don't have a running game. So that's what's tough about it. But you're down 35-16. But yeah, you're right. You get the ball back, and you had a chance to at least cut it to another 2-possession game, and make it. You could have scored and made it potentially 35-24 and made a game out of it early in the second half. But they went down and kicked another field goal. They were 0 for 3 in red zone attempts today. So the offense, like you said, they had that big play from CD, but that was the only touchdown they scored today. So yeah, the offense didn't look good either. Definitely. So you could blame the offense. I mean, everyone's going to blame the defense, rightfully so. but bad complementary football overall.
Yeah, it was like a tale of two halves too. As the defense was horrid in the
It felt
first
like
half, and then in the second half they flipped the script, and all of a sudden the offense only scores 3 points. The defense gave up 9 points in the second half, and one of them, I believe, the offense threw a pick to put them in scoring position. So, at least at least Zimmer apparently made some sort of adjustments in the second half, or the Saints took their foot off the pedal because they were up by 3 scores, and why take risks? So that could have been part of it as well. But there's a lot of blame to go around. But man, when you see a disaster like this, and we've seen it before, you got to start from the top down. And you can point that finger at Jerry all you want, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're wasting your time pointing fingers at the owner, because he ain't going nowhere. Until the man passes away, he's not going anywhere. So don't waste your breath trying to tell us what Jerry's doing wrong. Let's start with Mike McCarthy. What's going on with the leadership of this team? Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Saints were hitting. They were hitting. There was some jaw-dropping hits out there by the Saints. Hey, I mean,
dirty,
clean.
Some of them were dirty, but I mean, they were more physical for sure.
Yeah, where was our hits? Did you see any hits? Did you see
No, they
our
don't.
defensive
They at
line?
least have a culture, I guess, of
Did Carr get hit? Did Carr get hit at all? Did he even get his uniform? I can't say grass stains because it's turf, but did he get any of those little black pellets from the turf on his uniform? Because he was never on the ground. Kamara was never on the ground.
He took 1 sack.
Yeah, it took one sack. Yeah. We need to be more physical.
That was garbage time.
I don't know what this.
I agree.
Culture, man.
I agree, and I feel like we were in week 1. That's the thing, and that's the issue. Is I mean, the Saints did have some hits that were a little on the dirty side, I would say, but they've always been like that, and I don't mean that in necessarily a negative way. It's just like they have a culture of being a very physical team. We brought it up joking manner. I mean, this is a team that had the bounty thing happen, so that's why I say it. But they are on the little dirtier side of the NFL. You could say what you want about that. I understand. I'm not here to crap on the Saints to say they're a dirty team. That's why they won. But they are, some of those hits were a little questionable in the modern NFL. But all that to say that they were much more physical, and they have a culture of being a very physical, hard-hitting team and a hard-hitting defense. And that's what they showed today. And the Cowboys just looked like they didn't want to be out there. They looked like they wanted to. The only way they were going to win today is in like a blowout. They had no desire to be in any type of dogfight, and that's what it was going to take to win this game. They had to respond, and they couldn't respond. It felt, I don't want to say it again, but it felt like the playoff game where it's just like they don't feel willing to win. I don't know what is the Dallas Cowboys culture, I guess. Do we have a culture other than, raising your personal stock and getting paid? Does the team have any type of culture? Because I can't see it.
No, it doesn't. And that's why I appreciate a culture like in New Orleans and hey, throw a yellow flag now and then when we hit somebody late or we hit somebody too hard. But over the course of the game, the Cowboys knew they were getting hit. They knew they were getting pushed around. I saw guys getting pushed around after the whistle, and our guys aren't coming to their defense. They're just like walking back to the huddle. And what's going on with our running game, because Zeke didn't even come into the game until like the third series, but Deuce Vaughn was getting carries, the typical 1 yard, 2 yard carry that we saw last year. I'm very confused on McCarthy's game plan. You look at Rico, and he had 4 catches for 29 yards, 7.3 yards a catch. He had 7 carries for 30 yards, 4.3 yards a carry. Why? Why isn't he double those touches?
Yeah.
Why do we have Deuce Vaughn?
I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, we got Deuce Vaughn getting 4 carries, 11 yards, 2.8. We got Zeke getting 6 for 16, 2.7. Then you got a guy with 4.3. Did he just have a big run? No. His longest run was 7 yards. That's your workhorse. That's the guy that needs the ball from the very first series. I don't understand. The running back committee, I expected to be a lot different than this. I expected, Rico would be RB1, he'd play a series and then maybe take a series off, and one of the other two guys maybe rotate, and then Rico plays another full series. That's the way I envision it, and the stats back me up. If you don't buy that, go look at the stats. The stats back me up. Rico's the best back on this team. He's the only one that's explosive. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball, and we're not using him. Signed him. He was technically a free agent. His contract was up. They signed him. They paid him, but they're not using him. I don't understand what's going on with the running back. We can't run the ball at all. But, the big problem in the first half was the defense. So you could have run the ball all you want, but they scored. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they scored on their first 6 possessions. Touchdowns. I'm thinking 5 for
yeah,
sure.
I think
they had
definitely 5 going into the first half. They went up, they put up 35 in the first half, so all 5 drives ended up in touchdown drives. No, I think they ended up not scoring a touchdown in the third quarter on one of their drives. I think they punted once.
They did punt once, but I thought they scored 6 in a row. But 5 or 6, doesn't really matter. 5, 6, whatever.
Definitely 5 straight touchdown drives, maybe 6 straight scoring drives.
Well,
I was barely watching at that point.
No,
so.
their 6th score was a touchdown and the missed extra point. So they'd had 6 touchdowns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if the punt came before the 6th, I don't remember. I don't think it did though. I think they scored 6 straight touchdowns before they finally turned the ball over, kicked the field goal, and punted
they did.
In the fourth quarter. So, I mean, you can talk about Dak, you can talk about the running game, you talk about the play calling, but if you give up 6 straight touchdowns in the NFL, I would be willing to
nobody.
bet. I'd be willing to bet, and the only one I know that could look that stat up is my boy Says Me. Says Me could look this up, but I'd be willing to bet that no team in history has won a game after giving up 6 straight touchdowns on 6 straight possessions to start the game. There's no way. No one in history has won a game that way. I'd be willing to bet money on that. There's no way that anyone's ever won. So, again, just like Green Bay game, Dak. It's Dak's fault. Dak. And you overpaid him, and he's not the guy, and he's not it. But just hear me out, guys. You gave up 6 consecutive touchdowns to start the game. Is Patrick Mahomes coming back from that? Is Tom Brady coming back from that? I don't think anyone ever has come back from that. There's no way. That's impossible.
Yeah, you can't do it. And yeah, it would have helped, I guess, on the offensive side of the ball if they would have, because they were able to drive the ball down the field, but they weren't able to cash in, like I said, 0 for 3 in the red zone. So in the first and second quarter, if they can go down and score instead of kicking field goals, and it's a 14-14 game. But still, man, the defense just showed no signs. I mean, I don't even know if there was a single negative play in the first 3 quarters of the game. I certainly can't think of one. I mean, there was, like I said, 1 sack in the fourth quarter. Just no negative plays at all. Every time the New Orleans Saints ran a play, it was a positive play. Their run game just chipped away. They destroyed us in the run game. I mean, they went for let's see here. Let's get the final totals.
Like I said, with Zeke not being on the field for 3 series, Overshawn is not on the field for the first 3 series, I believe, 2 or 3 series. Arguably our best linebacker last week, he's on everybody's highlight reel. I watch ESPN, I watch NFL Network. Overshawn, look at how fast he is. Look at this pursuit. Look at Overshawn. Oh my goodness, Overshawn. Here the game goes. They're well into the 3rd series, and one of the announcers said, "Is Overshawn hurt? Have you heard anything about Overshawn? He hasn't appeared in the game yet." That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was puzzling.
It's very puzzling. Was their game plan? Did they think they were going to be up, 4 touchdowns by halftime? Was that what they were doing? Were they resting guys? Were they letting other guys get to play that just to get their feet wet early in the season? I don't know, but it didn't look like they even came to play today. And I made a joke early, but the only other time I've ever seen Dak sweating as hard as he was sweating in the pregame was when they played Green Bay. And I jokingly said, "Oh, Dak's too sweaty. Last time I saw this, he had a bad game." And it happened again. So I don't know what's happening in their preparation, their game plan, but they need to change something. Something needs to be changed. I think that the team just can't handle success. They can't handle success. They go into Cleveland, they had success.
That's
Everybody's like,
success, though. It's like
yeah,
it's just a win. It's one win in the regular season.
right.
It's not like they. What expectations do you have? I mean, you got blown out last year in the wild
Well,
card round. Everyone's
but
writing you off. I mean, well, the expectation for this team is we're just looking to see if they can make a win a couple playoff games. I mean, no one's calling them a Super Bowl, caliber team. So I
no,
don't yeah, I mean, yes, they had success. They won a game. They won one football game last week. That to me, that's not success. That's a cultural problem of just taking things week by week. If we lose, we lose. We win, we win. Like it's just no. I don't know. I guess yeah, they can't handle success in the sense that they can't handle winning one
or
single game.
another way to put it is they read their own press. They're reading their own press. They say, hey, you went into Cleveland, you upset Cleveland. Now you're, Tom Brady had them fourth in his power rankings, and NFL and ESPN power rankings are top 10 now. They're 8, they're 9. They start the season and they're like 16, 20. Oh, they had a horrible offseason. They go into Cleveland as underdogs. They win the game. Now they're coming home against New Orleans. Well, New Orleans just beat Carolina. Carolina's terrible. So this should be a walk in the park. We don't need Fergie. We don't need Zeke on the field. We'll give the ball to Deuce. We'll Overshawn get some rest, and all of a sudden you're getting blown out. So I mean, I blame the top, and it starts with McCarthy. I mean,
It's a coaching staff, yeah.
Yeah, and Zimmer.
You got to set the tone. You got to set the tone as a head coach, and that's the
Zimmer
thing.
had,
You got to prepare your team week to week. Even though they got a win in Cleveland, there was plenty of things to point out after that game where they could improve on. They were definitely feeling too good about themselves, and they didn't make any improvements because, like you said, now with 2 weeks in, this offense really hasn't come together, so it's concerning. Just let's go over some final stats here. So, Derek Carr again had a fantastic game. He looks like a world beater at this point. He's probably front runner for MVP after these 2 games. 11 for 16, 243, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 1 sack. Alvin Kamara went absolutely off. Hopefully, maybe there's a Cowboys fan out there that had him on his fantasy team or something to make this thing better. But Alvin Kamara went 20 for 115, 3 touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown as well. The Saints finished with 190 rushing yards, 4.9 rushes or yards per rush, 4 total rushing touchdowns. Receiving wise, they went for 243 yards, average of 22.1 yards per catch, which is insane. And that's what you said. Like Derek Carr had a hell of a game. He only completed 11 passes. So, like you said, it's just chunk plays like crazy. Rashid Shaheed went 4 for 96 with a touchdown, longest of 70. Their defense also had 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks on Dak, 2 interceptions, and forced a fumble but did not recover it. That was kind of an ugly play.
Good hustle by Tolbert.
Yeah,
Tolbert's the
that was
one guy. He had one bad play where he didn't come for the ball, and he got licked. He got hit, which questionable hit, but he got hit. Ball went flying out. But outside of that, Tolbert seemed like a guy that wanted to be on the field, and
yeah.
they showed that replay. He was well behind, probably 5 yards behind the play when Dak fumbled it.
Yeah, he was like in the end zone, and he ran back in.
Ran
so
all the way back.
That was a hell of an effort by
that's
Tolbert.
That's easily a 10-point play because the momentum they had, they recover that fumble, they go down and score another touchdown. But Tolbert goes back and recovers that fumble, and now it's 4th and long, and we kick a field goal, and Aubrey doesn't miss field goals. We at least that's one positive. The guy's hitting
he's a bright spot I mean, I guess he's gonna be. He might be the star of this offense because he's the only guy that has shown up so far. So
yeah, so another
as much as I love
row.
watching him kick, I'm tired of watching him kick. We need to see some.
Yeah,
so we need to see some actual production.
He's going to be 8 for 8 now, with a 57-yarder last week and a 52-yarder this week. 8 for 8. He just does. I mean, he made all his extra points as well. So Right now, he's our team MVP. Unfortunately, we want our kicker to be 8 for 8, but we don't want our kicker to be the MVP of our offense. And right now, he definitely is. That's not even close. So we need to do something about. Doesn't this sound
Did
familiar?
the
2 years ago,
did the Chiefs just win?
they did. I
Damn.
mean, I just turned my head and I saw Taylor Swift hugging and crying and laughing. So they
Good Lord.
obviously won.
Yeah,
Because
they shouldn't have won that game. That's what good teams do. That's what
yeah,
good teams do right there. The Bengals start 0-2 again. It's been a crazy day. I'll give you that. The
no,
positives
yeah,
from
we're
this
we're
game.
not alone. We're not alone. We
Let's
had a
hold
lot
on.
of
Let me
upset.
finish. Let's finish the stats first, and then we'll get into
Yeah,
where do we go from here? Dak finished 27 for 39 for 293. So again, stats look fine. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That first pick was definitely not his fault. He threw a ball to Brooks, and
he fell down.
Brooks fell down. So Jalen Brooks fell down on that play, and he shouldn't have. And it was a throw that you make when he had beat the defender. So he threw a little slant, and Brooks should have been there. He fell down, and it was just a freak play. Ended up being an interception. That one was not on Dak. That second one, he threw into double coverage for a jump ball to CeeDee Lamb and got picked. It was just a dumb throw. Trying to make a play, you're down big. So
Yeah,
again, the Dak haters will be in there, but he didn't look bad. There was that one play he overthrew CD, who had beat his defender into the end zone. So he didn't look great by any means, but he didn't look terrible. What he didn't look like he's worth 600,000 million. But he doesn't look like the highest paid NFL player of all time, but whatever. The rushing game looked rough, man. 21 carries overall for 68 yards. Rico was the leading rusher today with 30 yards. That's just not going to cut it. Zeke went 6 for 16. Deuce got 4 for 11. Not sure why Zeke wasn't out there at the beginning. I thought, he had that one really good catching play, that 15-yard play, I think on third down that Dak kind of escaped a sack and threw it to him. But overall, the running game looks not good. I think it's time for Dalvin Cook to come in. Might as well, right? It
I
can't get any
mean,
worse.
honestly, like,
Get him in there.
is
I
that
mean,
part of the is that part of it? I mean, are we did they just is this a preseason game? Is that why they're playing? They're giving the ball to Deuce and Zeke and Dowdle, kind of rotating the three of them. They're going to see, hey, which one of you guys is out the door, because Cook is going to be ready to roll by next week, I would assume. So, I mean, I went online and I've said to several people, don't expect him to come off the practice squad without an injury. But that's me thinking optimistically. Now, I'm not so optimistic about this running game. They need a spark, right? So, is anybody in Cowboy Nation gonna be upset if Dalvin Cook is activated next week? Put my vote in for no. I'm not upset. Let's put him out there and see what he's got. Could it be worse than what we got today out of Deuce Vaughn? 4 carries,
no.
11 yards, 2.8. Can it be worse than 6 carries, 16 yards, 2.7 by Zeke? Can't be worse, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wish Deuce Vaughn the best. I want him to succeed, but it's not working out. I wish they would have used CD in the run game like they did last week. That worked out well. It kind of spreads out these defenses, and using Turpin as well. They just
CD
for some reason,
he didn't get a carry tonight.
yeah, he
Not a
didn't get a single
carry.
carry. You
They
got to
give a
use him,
ball.
man. You got to
They
use
give
him.
the
I think
ball
he
on
went 2 for like 35 last week. So
what
why not
didn't
use him?
they run a sweep to Brandon Cooks inside the red zone. If I'm mistaken,
Yeah,
let me know.
it
But
didn't work. I thought he had it. Someone missed his block. It went for
yeah,
-3.
but
I
why are
thought
you
he had
doing a
that.
sweep or reverses or something you do when you're outside the red zone normally? So I
Yeah.
question some of the play calling there too. But what that play needs to be to CD. That's what it worked all last year and it worked this year in week 1. And then today, no carries for CD. It's puzzling.
Yeah. Receiving wise, CD had a better day today, went 4 for 90, but
Yeah,
still, only 4
big
catches
chunk.
is not quite
Yeah,
enough.
one
Yeah,
big catch
65
too.
yarder, which was great. Tolbert caught 6 balls for 82 yards. He had a good game. Schoonmaker had a good game, 6 for 43. But other than that, Cooks is still not there. Jalen Brooks is not there. So Brevin Spanford I think he had 1 target, didn't catch the ball, so not a good game. Defensively, just terrible performance. 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss the entire game. Allowed 44 points. Micah Parsons is on a milk carton. I don't know where the guy's at, but yeah, he can't. In these big games, he does not make a difference. I mean, you can kind of if he wants to be the highest paid defensive player of all time, like you got to step up and make a play. I'm sorry, I get that Derek Carr didn't really sit back in the pocket a lot because they were running the ball so well. He got the ball out quickly, but maybe make a play in the running game, Micah. I mean, I don't know. You want to be the leader on this defense, you might need to make a play. And like I said, I've been a proponent of this for a long time. Do not pay Micah Parsons. He would be a waste of money, honestly. You already paid Dak and CD. There's no reason to pay Micah Parsons the money that he's going to want. He does not make a big enough difference in big games. Every big game that we lose and we get blown out in, Micah Parsons is on a milk carton. He's gone, man. He's nowhere to be found. He's pouting on the sideline. He's tired. He's not in on every play. He can't make a difference. He can only make a difference when quarterbacks are sitting back in the pocket. Like he's too up and down for me. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, I don't think you're wrong statistically. I think you're right, but I think there's a lot of double teams. There's a lot of the back is going to chip him, pick him up like we did last week with Cleveland's pass rush. So the argument can be made if he's being doubled and he's being chipped, where are the sacks from the other side? Where's DeMarcus Lawrence? Did he exist today? Where's our linebackers? Where is Mozzie Smith? Does he?
Come on. You know where he's at.
I know where he's at. He's backwards off the line of scrimmage every single play. I know he's back over 300 pounds, but at least when he was 250 with Quinn, he had an excuse. Now there's no excuse. Why do you get blown backwards on every play? He's supposed to stop the run. I'm not blaming him for not having sacks, but did you see the run today? They were running up and down the field like crazy. I can't find.
Well, Micah should be able to make plays on the outside. He had 3
Correct
tackles.
Me if I'm
today.
wrong. I don't see Mozzie Smith had a single tackle. I'm looking at
no,
the
he
stats.
didn't. No,
not a single.
No,
You're a starter.
Dak had 1. Dak had more. Yeah. Dak had more tackles than Mozzie Smith. That's all you need to know about this game today.
You a starter?
And so did Zeke.
Yeah,
CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Ezekiel Elliott they all had more tackles today than Mozzie Smith.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all you need to know.
He's literally not in the stat line, Mozzie Smith, and he's a starter, and he played a lot. I was watching him, and I said, man, I've been hearing all this crap coming out of training camp of how much he's improved. So I'm like, I don't really remember him in Cleveland much, so I pay attention to him today. I kind of put a little circle on him today, and it's not good, man. It's not good. I mean,
he had 33 snaps. He played in 33 snaps. It's really...
Okay. 0 tackles in 33 snaps, and you're a defensive lineman. I mean, and they're running the ball the entire second half. Look at how many. They only passed the ball. What do you say? He only had 11 completions.
Yeah.
So they're running. They're running the ball. So where's Mozzie? If he had 50 passes, I'd say, well, Mozzie isn't a pass rusher, and he's probably not even on the field.
Right.
You're telling me he had 33 plays. They ran the ball up and down the field the whole game, and he has 0 tackles. How's he on the team anymore? Sorry. How's he on the team? What good is it?
Not good.
What are we doing with him? Is this preseason? We're going to develop him? I mean, come on, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, at some point you just have to cut your losses and say, look, that was a bad pick. We're going to move on.
Bad pick, man. Move on. At least Schoonmaker contributed a little bit today. I've been hard on him, for as high as we picked him. And Fergie's out, and Scooney made that one-handed catch early in the game. He looks slow, but I don't think he was a liability tonight. He had a few catches. He had some yards. I don't remember him particularly, missing his assignment on blocks. Maybe he did when we rewatched the game, but I didn't see him as a no-show. Mozzie Smith's a no-show, man. It's bad.
Yeah, not good. So that's kind of how the stats looked, folks. It's I really
It's
not much
ugly.
else to say on that.
It's ugly.
I'm supposed to do this research for the show, and the one thing I overlooked today was Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for New Orleans. He worked for Kyle Shanahan last year, as we well know that the Dallas Cowboys cannot play against, they can't defend against anyone from the Shanahan tree. Question for you, Cowboy Edge. Did you see Dan Quinn today? Did you see him in Washington?
I did not watch
Did you
that
see him
game.
on the
No.
Did you see him on the field though?
Was he on the field?
I don't know. I'm trying to find out if he was coaching for the Dallas Cowboys today,
Oh,
because I can't tell a difference
I
between
thought
Dan
you
Quinn and
meant
Mike Zimmer.
did I watch the Commanders game? No, that was a
Did
perfectly
anyone see Dan Quinn? Do we have
no.
proof that Dan Quinn was in fact coaching for the Washington Commanders today? Because I think he might have been confused and he might have coached this Dallas Cowboys defense, because I see no difference.
There was no difference, man.
Fun football podcast says what happened today. That's what we're talking about. And Fun
I'll
Football
tell you what
podcast also
happened.
said, I don't understand.
I'll tell you exactly what happened, Isaac, over at Fun Football. You picked the Cowboys. That's what happened. Last week you picked the Browns and we won. Don't put that on us. You Packers fans need to cheer against us every week, please. Because you put that bad juju on us today and went out and laid an egg. So don't pick us next week. We're going to get blown out by the Ravens. Make sure you post it.
Exactly. But back to my previous point. So Clint Kubiak did work for Shanahan. He also worked for Mike Zimmer while with the Vikings. He was the offensive coordinator for that Vikings team, offensive quality control coach, and quarterbacks coach. So he might have known, not might have known. He obviously knew a lot about this Mike Zimmer defense, and he torched it and he exposed it, which is
yeah, it's
not,
bad, man.
it's not good to have. You don't want to be on the what Kubiak is going to do on offense. He shouldn't be beat by his former offensive coordinator. You can't lose that battle. That's what Dan Quinn used to do with his old assistants. Now we're seeing it with Mike Zimmer. That's not good. It's not good at all. This is a guy that's supposed to be good against the Shanahan tree, and 0 for 1 so far this year.
And bad. We got the Niners we got to play too. So another Shanahan tree, right? So, man. But hey, we weren't alone.
And
today.
the Packers.
Niners took a hit today. The Lions took a hit today. I mean, all those teams in the NFC that everybody was ranting and raving about last week all took hits today, right?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how we should end the show. Really, is where we go from here. Well, it was a very weird day in the NFL, and I'll give you that. And the Cowboys get a little bit of a pass for that, because, like you said, Detroit lost today to Tampa. Our boy Baker, he's baking. He might.
Bacon.
The NFC South might be the best division in the NFC.
Yeah. How about the Saints and the Bucks fighting it out?
The Saints
now?
and the Bucks look like world beaters, man. They
I mean,
might be facing each other for NFC championship game.
Championship
But it's
right there. There it is.
Yeah,
It's funny.
I mean,
it's funny, but tell me any team in the NFC playing better than those two. You know, we have to see the Eagles play their second game, obviously, but you know, putting that aside, what 2-0 team in the NFC is playing better right now than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints? And the answer is no one. So early on, those are your two front runners, and that's shocking, right? That was like,
it's crazy.
Whoever
Minnesota,
wins that division loses
Minnesota's
the first
2-0.
round, but Minnesota, that's
who would have thought, man? We totally wrote off in our in our game picks. Even Minnesota's 2-0. San Francisco went down today. That's crazy. That's a bad loss.
What was the Cowboy Reg upset of the week?
That was Tampa Bay. You picked Tampa Bay, and I picked Cincinnati. They just blew it by 1 point. Man, freaking Mahomes. Yeah, man, it was a crazy week. I'll give you that. So Tampa Bay got a big win in Detroit. San Francisco loses to Minnesota. Baltimore loses to Vegas, which they were 9-point favorites.
That's big.
So we got to break down that game, that game next week and on Tuesday's show. But I don't know whether I was kind of telling my wife during that game, we were watching the end of that game, and I don't think that's a good thing for us. Is Baltimore really going to go 0-3? Is the NFL going to allow Baltimore to go 0-3? I hate to, be a Cowboy Reg, but You know, I don't know. I mean, because how many? There's 6 teams in the history of the NFL that have started are supposed to be a potential Super Bowl team. They did not. They did not look great today. Their defense looks bad. In these first 2 games. That's concerning. So we're gonna break down that game Tuesday. I don't want to get too into it, but that's what the Cowboys got next week. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Both. It's definitely a must win for Baltimore. Probably not so much for the Cowboys. I mean, they really need to bounce back. I think the Cowboys do, but I wouldn't say next week's a must win with the Giants in week 4. You expect to, even if you drop that game next week, you could be 2-2. But I would love for us to win that game next week. I would love for the Cowboys to be 2-0 facing an 0-2 Baltimore. Then you look at it as, hey, a lot of all the pressure on Baltimore. You don't absolutely have to win this game. No one's expecting you to win this game. But now next week gets really, really interesting. I'm not saying that the Cowboys can't win next week because Baltimore's 0-2. But again, do you really think the Baltimore Ravens are going to go 0-3?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
He's optimistic.
I'll flip the script on you. After the Cowboys won 16 consecutive home games, they lost one. Do you really think they're going to lose 2 in a row?
It's a good point. I think they can win it. Yeah, I mean, I think they can win this game because
if that game's in Baltimore, that's a whole different story. Baltimore 0-2, they're in disarray, and now they got to come to us. So I haven't even looked at it. I haven't begun to break it down. I'm just saying that, I don't like the matchup, and I counted that as a loss at the beginning of the season, but I didn't expect them to be 0-2 coming into that game. I expected both teams would be 2-0, and that would be the game of the week. Now it's a 1-1 versus a 0-2 game. So it's going to be fun to look into it. I haven't even began to scratch the surface on that one, but something's going on in Baltimore, right?
It's not good.
Like
you said, it could be worse. Could be worse. But again, the only thing about that is a lot of teams lost close games today. The difference is the Cowboys got blown out.
Yeah.
And that's what's concerning. If the Cowboys go in this game, I think New Orleans is a lot better than people are expecting. Obviously. And I think we didn't know what to expect out of them because of how well they played in week 1. But again, it was it's against the Panthers. They got blown out again today. So the Panthers are really bad. And I guess the Saints are good, are either just really good or Dallas just laid an egg. I think it's a little bit of both. I think the Saints are good. I wouldn't say they're really good. But who knows? At this point, they're definitely looking to be a playoff team. And this is an NFC team. And again, you totally blew a game to where New Orleans they might take a wild card spot from you. Who knows? It might be a tiebreaker because you just can't lose these games. It's just not good. It's not a good way to start your season. And even if if the Cowboys lose this game by a field goal or a touchdown, it's a hard fought game. They come up short. It is what it is, right? You say, look, that maybe New Orleans is a good team. The Cowboys fought hard. They lost the game. It's the NFL. It happens. But if you want to be one of the best teams in the NFC, which that's the expectation for the Dallas Cowboys, you cannot get blown out like this at home. I mean, it's just embarrassing. It sets a bad standard for your football team. And this is what we've seen these past 3 years. It's just up and down, up and down. And when they lose, you just know right away, oh, they're going to lose today because they just come out so flat. It's unbelievable,
It's like those opening
what
drives.
final takeaways do you have from this game? Yeah.
I don't want to defer any more kickoffs because as soon as the other team scores, it's like complete deflation of our entire team. So from now on, let's just take the ball. They did it against Green Bay in the playoffs, and they did it again today. And it's like deja vu. They defer, and then they let them drive 80 yards down the field. And one more thing I want to bring up, and this one just is so puzzling to me. Who was returning kicks for us today?
Yeah, Wanway Thomas. He was a kind of one of the last guys to make it on the 53-man roster.
Did you see his returns? I mean, it looked like
great.
It looked like a linebacker that just got an interception, and they're just kind of rumbling and stumbling up the middle, And they kicked the ball. Bob. They kicked the ball directly to him 4 times. Now, I know they don't want to kick to Turpin. We all know they don't want to kick to Turpin. But if you need 2 returners back, explain to me why the second returner isn't Deuce Vaughn. Because in the preseason, Deuce Vaughn returning all the kicks. Now, what are we saving Deuce Vaughn? What the hell's going on with Deuce Vaughn? I mean, I know his dad's on the freaking staff. Do I need to bring that up?
Right.
Is that what's going on? Because if that's what's going on,
I think it's got something to do with it. I do.
Well, if that's what's going on, this is not a middle school basketball team where you put your kid in. Okay, this is the NFL. If this guy can't play, why is he out there? And number 2, if he's a good special teamer, and that's his, what he brings to the table, why is he not returning the kicks? What is Wanye Thomas returning kicks for? That was terrible. It was terrible, man.
I mean, I know he did it in preseason, but yeah, I mean, if someone's returning, if someone's getting to the ball, it should be. I think they can make that decision while the ball's in the air, no matter what, unless it's like a squib kick. You can decide who's going to take that kick. From my football knowledge, there are rare circumstances, but when the ball's in the air, I think they have a choice with who's going to return that, and maybe we can look back on it and see who is back there. But yeah, I agree with you, Cowboy Reg. Turpin, if you're going to take a kick out, it's got to be Kevontae Turpin. He's a weapon. You got to use him. Yeah, puzzling. Like I said, bad complimentary football. Special teams didn't look great other than Brandon Aubrey. I mean, it really didn't have an impact on the game, but it could have helped for sure to have a big return. So, yeah, I mean, we got the Ravens next week. Really disappointing game. I don't know what to say. It is week 2. We have 15 more games, but the Cowboys are going to have to show us a lot. And really, like I said, it's really not about the results at the end of the day. It's, does your team have fight? Do they have a culture of showing up week to week and playing hard? And because you're not going to play good week to week, and that's the thing about this week. They didn't click, and that's fine. That happens. You cannot click for 17 games a year. Either find ways to win or find ways to make games close and put themselves in an opportunity to win. At least you put yourself in a chance to win when you're not playing well. And that's what the Cowboys cannot do. If they're not playing well, they lose every single game. And that against, pretty good opponents. Maybe not so much against the New York Giants of the league, but you know what I mean? It's just last week you clicked on both sides of the ball. You played great. You beat a good team. This week you didn't play well and you got blown out by a good team. Even if you don't play well, you got to make this a game and put yourself in a position to maybe win the game, maybe lose by a field goal. It's fine. You go in the next week and you play better, but you cannot get blown out at all. There's no excuses for getting blown out.
You gotta hit somebody out there, guys. You gotta hit somebody, and
set the tone.
There's no physical play from our team. It's like they're just soft. And hopefully Jerry comes out of the box or somebody goes in at halftime one of these times and lights them up. Bring Jimmy Johnson out of the booth, whatever. Put him in there. Somebody's got to light this team up. Mike McCarthy's not getting it done as far as motivating this team. And it's almost like he's just a game manager and he expects these guys to be professional. And that's fair, but they're not. These guys are, like you said earlier, they're worried about their own contracts. Each guy that comes out, I want to be the highest paid player in my position. And then you see a product like that. So I'm not going to go down the route you're going with, we don't need to re-sign Micah. But I will agree with you if he says, I want to be the highest defensive, paid defensive player of all time. I'm going to be like, good luck. Because somebody else is going to have to pay that money because you got to be a game changer. You got to be a difference maker. And he hasn't been in the big games. He might be in, 3 sacks against the Giants or something one day. And then in the big game like this, he's got 0. So hopefully this fires these guys up because the coaches aren't. Apparently the coaches aren't firing them up. So maybe they get upset enough that they come out next week and pull I don't know. They might be favored, right? I mean, 0-2 team coming into your house and Dallas might be favored. I hope they're not. I hope Baltimore's favored, and I hope that fires them up. Hey, you got an 0-2 team coming into your house.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if that
ESPN's not
line
giving
is.
it to me right now. I'd have to look into it more. That'll be Tuesday show for sure. We'll have a line set for that game. I know Baltimore originally was definitely favored. That has definitely changed. But again, that should be a tight game next week because the Cowboys need to bounce back and but again, the threat with the Ravens is the run game, and we got to do something to stop the run. That's what didn't look good today. So that's what we thought after last week. Like, okay, we finally got a defense that could stop the run. Well, looks like we don't again.
No.
So concerning there. We're gonna break it all down on Tuesday. Really bad loss, folks. No way to really tiptoe around it. We need a full team change here. It's only week 2. You know, these losses can really sidetrack a season or they can fire the guys up. You know, only time will tell what this loss does for the overall team. You know, the leaders on this team are going to step up. I'm circling Micah Parsons as a guy that needs to step up for me. But you bring up a good point. DeMarcus Lawrence, where the hell was he today? I'm pretty hard on Micah just because I see how good he is and how he wants to be the leader of this defense and he wants to be the highest paid defensive player of all time. He's going to have to step up and prove that to me. Not that it's not that I cross his mind, but as a lifelong fan of the Cowboys and seeing him wear the uniform and want to be the face of the Cowboys defense, he's going to have to show it. Any parting shots today, Cowboy Reg, before we end this show?
I mean, you know, if I can tell you how upset I am on the inside and how hard it is to try to fight that off, it's only one game. So the optimism
Mhm.
is, you know, we're sitting at 1-1 and we got a home game and we got the Giants coming up on a short week, which concerns me. But after that, you know, you got to get a 10-day break and regroup. So we got to string together a couple wins now. Now this loss has set us back. Now you just got to string together a couple wins and make up for it. So it's only one game. Nobody thought we were going 17-0, right? I mean,
Right.
we're all calling 12-5, 13-4, or 11-6. Everybody's right in there. So 1-1, it's going right along with what we thought. You know, we got to turn it around. Don't get me wrong, but let's not analyze this into our season's over. It's just one game. Got to make some adjustments now. Coaches, it's time to step up. And you know, your criticism of Michael Parsons is warranted. Who's motivating him and who's holding him accountable? You know, so that's the
True.
coaches. So I'm calling the
True.
coaches out. 100% I'm calling the coaches out on this game.
I like is when we talked about one of our shows in the offseason, Micah Parsons says, I haven't spoken a word to Mike Zimmer in the first
Yeah.
2 weeks of practice, whenever that was. So some issues there for sure. That's my biggest thing. Look, you're going to lose games. This is the NFL. The Saints are really, really hot right now. They got the Eagles next week, so let's hope they continue on and continue to stay hot. But yeah, it was a weird day in the NFL for sure. A lot of teams took some losses they were not expecting. We were not alone in that category. The one thing that separates the Cowboys is this was an embarrassing loss. We got blown out, and that's what's
Yeah.
frustrating. We can lose games. I understand we're going to lose games like Cowboy Red Shed, 100%. This isn't college football. You don't go undefeated in the regular season. This team's not going 17-0. I wouldn't want them to go 17-0. I'm good with that. It's just the matter of which you lose, I think matters. And in this
Yeah.
case, you were blown out at home and you looked really bad doing it. And that's it goes back. And this isn't the first time this has happened under this administration, right? Under this this
Yep.
leadership of the team. So that's what's concerning to me is like you think, okay, McCarthy's in his third year,
No, it's fourth year, I believe. Maybe
4th year.
five.
So
Fourth or
it's
five,
like
fifth.
I don't know, man. It seems like Groundhog's Day with this team because nothing's changing. That's what's concerning to me. You got a new defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer. Where's the change happening? We're all in. Jerry Jones in the offseason. Where is the change happening? We need to see change. We need to see an upgrade to this team's culture, right? That's what's concerning to me. You're going to lose games, but you cannot lose games like this. That's unacceptable in the NFL. You cannot lose 44-19 at home against a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. It can't happen. Even if the Chiefs came into AT&T Stadium, I wouldn't expect the Cowboys to get beat by 25 points in an embarrassing fashion. You can't let it
Not
happen. And that's the thing.
In the NFL, nobody should in the era of the salary cap in free agency, and the whole purpose of that is the NFL wants competition. They want competitive games, and that didn't happen today. And no one, like you said, no one should get blown out. Carolina's under the same rules as Kansas City. They have the same amount of money to spend. They have the same rules. The drafts, pick order, all that crap is all equal. So you should not get blown out like this in the modern NFL. And when you do, to me, without barring injuries, your quarterback's not out. As far as I saw, Dak was on the field. Your starters are pretty much healthy. Ferguson was out. Did that affect the game? I don't think so. How do you get blown out? How do you get blown out? It just doesn't make sense. It's leadership, man.
Yeah,
and
think
there's
so
a
too.
reason why they're on their last. This is his last contract. I heard it several times today, and you can laugh all you want, but Bill Belichick's probably sitting in his living room watching that game and saying, "Honey, start looking at houses in Dallas." Right?
I thought the same thing, man. I don't know if that's gonna change things, but
well,
this is the start.
Yeah,
He's already. I would say McCarthy's already on the hot seat. These are the kind of
yeah.
losses that turn up the flame, man. These are the losses that cranks up the heat, because this is what we're talking about. It's like, I hate to keep saying it, but you cannot lose games like this. You can lose games. It's okay. It's okay to lose games in the NFL, but you cannot lose games in this fashion. And now
Compete,
you're
man.
faced with a situation to where, it's the roller coaster. That's what's killing me with this guy. It's the roller coaster, and who knows? I would probably feel better next week, like we said, if the Ravens were 2-0 than 0-2. Next week's going to be tough. It's a big game next week, so I can't wait to break it down on Tuesday. Cowboy Reg is right. The season it's not over, man. Let's relax. We're 1-1. We 15 more games left, so 15 more games. All right, let's calm down.
And we're healthy.
We got a tough schedule. Healthy, tough schedule coming up. We gotta. Yeah,
and I think Fergie's going to be okay. He was in he's out there running around in the pregame, and he was with the rehab group or whatever. He's probably going to be all right. We're probably going to see him next week. Maybe not. Maybe they'll look at tape and say, "Scooney, you did okay. We're going to run that back." But injuries weren't the issue today. We got out of there healthy. Zach Martin limped off a little bit, and then came back into the game. So
yeah, he'll be all right.
I think we're good. Duron Bland was missed today, right? I mean,
for sure.
As high as we've been on Carson, he got lit up a little bit today. Carson with
and he's a rookie.
Yeah.
He's a rookie, man.
Yeah,
in this team plays a lot of man coverage. It's a tough task to have as a rookie corner. So,
and what are we looking at for Bland? Is coming back week 6 or before that? Week 4?
Yeah,
5?
I don't think, like we said when the injury happened, I don't think he comes back until the Lions game.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's possible to come back for the Steelers game. I would expect him back for the Lions game, because that's after, like you said, that 10-week break. That's at he's 4 to 6 weeks into the season. So I would expect him in that Lions game, if not the Lions game, the Niners game. So we will see. But yeah, tough stretch of games coming up. We got Ravens, Giants, Steelers, Lions, 49ers. So tough. Like we said, this was a really good chance to get a win before the schedule gets really, really tough. So not that the Saints are a bad team. Obviously, they're a lot better than we thought, but this was a good chance to get a win. We couldn't do it. But we will be back on Tuesday night to break down this Ravens Cowboys game. And this one sucked, but stick with us. It's a long season, and we can't wait to get ourselves motivated again for next week and prepare to get hurt again. So let's do it.
That's right.
Ain't no turning back now. This train's already moving, man. No jumping off this train. If you're with us,
sir.
You've been with us. So nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. We're here, and we got to keep going, and we'll see how it goes. Either way, it's going to be entertaining. So either way, we're going to be in the front page news. So, I'm sorry for all the Cowboys fans out there. Tomorrow's going to suck. You're going to go to work and get made fun of, especially if you're me. I live in Saints country, so this one really sucks.
Brutal, man. Brutal.
Brutal.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I think you sound sick. You better call in sick. You sound like you're a little hoarse. So you
exactly.
might you don't want to spread that around.
Yeah, so that sucks for me, but I deserve it. I went to a Saints game last year, wore a Saints shirt to support the team, local team. So I probably
It's your fault.
Post-game reaction to the New Orleans Saints game. The Cowboys have dropped their week 2 home opener 44-19, and we will face the Baltimore Ravens next week. We will be back this week to give you a preview of that show. Can't wait for y'all to join us then. Until then, this has been your host, Dallas. That's Cowboy Reg. Keep the faith. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. We'll be back.
That's right. Later.